Did you know some foods should not be refrigerated? A surprising fact, isn't it? But it's true. Refrigeration, while undeniably a modern marvel that has revolutionized food preservation, isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for every food item in your kitchen. Some foods, believe it or not, are better off outside the chilly confines of your refrigerator. You might be wondering, why is this the case? Simple. Certain foods have unique characteristics and compositions that don't play well with cold temperatures. Refrigeration can alter their taste, texture, and even nutritional value. It's a bit like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It just doesn't work. So it's time to rethink your food storage strategies. Are you ready to demystify your kitchen habits and discover the top 10 foods that prefer room temperature over a cold embrace? Stay tuned as we unveil the top 10 foods you should never put in your refrigerator. First up on our list, tomatoes. Now, you might think that popping your tomatoes in the fridge will keep them fresher for longer, but in reality, this can actually do more harm than good. You see, tomatoes are a warm weather fruit and they don't take kindly to the cold. When you refrigerate a tomato, the cold temperatures cause the delicate cells inside to break down. This alters both the texture and the flavor of the fruit, often resulting in a mealy, tasteless tomato. Not only does refrigeration affect the taste and texture, but it can also stop the ripening process. So, you can end up with tomatoes that are neither ripe nor flavorful. Therefore, to truly savor the sweet, tangy flavor and the firm yet juicy texture of a perfectly ripe tomato, you should always store your tomatoes at room temperature. So, if you want your tomatoes to maintain their taste and texture, keep them out of the fridge. Next on our list, potatoes. Now, who doesn't love a good spud, right? But here's the thing. Storing potatoes in the refrigerator can lead to some unexpected results. When potatoes are kept in the fridge, the cold temperature causes the starch in them to convert into sugar. This may sound sweet, literally, but it's not exactly desirable when it comes to your culinary endeavors. This transformation from starch to sugar gives your potatoes a sweeter taste, which may not be what you're going for in your dishes. Additionally, it can cause your potatoes to turn a dark color when cooked, which, let's face it, isn't the most appetizing look. So where should you store your potatoes? A cool, dark place outside the fridge is ideal. This helps to slow down the loss of moisture and keeps your potatoes fresh and tasty. To keep your potatoes fresh and tasty, store them in a cool, dark place outside the fridge. Moving on to onions. These culinary catalysts are often the unsung heroes of our dishes, but they do have some diva-like storage demands. You see, the refrigerator's cool, humid environment is far from ideal for our tear-inducing friends. The excess moisture within the fridge can turn those firm, crunchy layers into a soft, moldy mess. And that's not the end of the story. Onions have a robust, potent aroma. This strong smell doesn't play well with others, especially when locked inside a refrigerator. It can permeate through your fridge, impacting the flavor of other foods. Imagine biting into an apple only to be greeted by the unexpected tang of onion. Not exactly the flavor fusion one might hope for. The solution? Give onions their own space. A dry, well-ventilated area is their preferred hangout. A pantry, perhaps, or a storage bin in a cool, dark place. This way, they'll stay fresh, firm, and ready to enhance your cooking. For the best onion experience, store them in a dry, well-ventilated area. Garlic is up next. A staple in many kitchens worldwide, garlic is beloved for its unique, pungent flavor that can elevate any dish. However, storing garlic in the fridge can lead to some less than desirable outcomes. You see, the cold, damp environment inside a refrigerator can cause garlic to sprout. Sprouting doesn't necessarily mean the garlic is inedible, but it does alter the flavor, making it more bitter. In addition, refrigeration can also lead to mold growth, especially if the garlic is not properly stored. But perhaps the most tragic outcome of refrigerating garlic is the potential loss of its distinct flavor. Garlic's flavor comes from oils in the cloves, and these oils can be altered or even lost when exposed to the cold temperatures of a refrigerator for extended periods. So, how should you store your garlic? To maintain the flavor and longevity of your garlic, it's best to store it in a dry, cool place. Let's talk about bread. This staple food, adored globally, is a victim of one of the most common kitchen misconceptions. Many believe that storing bread in the refrigerator extends its freshness. However, the opposite is true. Storing bread in the fridge can actually make it go stale faster. Here's why. Bread loses its moisture at a rapid pace in the cold environment of a refrigerator. This accelerates the process of retrogradation, where the starch molecules in the bread crystallize, leading to a hard and stale texture. Is a bit like turning your soft, fluffy loaf into a brick. Instead, room temperature is the ideal condition for your bread. Store it in a bread box or a dry, cool pantry. If you've got extra that you don't think you'll eat in time, consider freezing it. Bread freezes well and can be revived easily in the oven or toaster. If you want your bread to stay fresh and soft, keep it out of the fridge. Next up is coffee. Now, who doesn't love a good cup of joe to kickstart the day? But storing those precious coffee beans or grounds in the fridge, that's a major faux pas. The fridge is a hub of different smells and flavors, and coffee, well, it's a bit of a sponge. It can easily absorb odors from other foods stored nearby. Imagine waking up to a cup of coffee that tastes faintly of last night's garlic stir-fry, or the cheese you've been saving for a special occasion. Not exactly the perfect start to your day, is it? Moreover, the fridge's chilly environment can cause coffee to lose its unique, robust flavor. What's the solution? Store your coffee in an airtight container away from sunlight, moisture, and extreme temperatures. A kitchen cabinet or pantry is often a good spot. This way, your coffee stays fresh and retains its true flavor. For the freshest and most flavorful coffee, store it in an airtight container outside the fridge. Let's discuss honey. This golden delight is not just a sweet treat, but a powerhouse of health benefits. However, if you've been storing it in your refrigerator, you might have noticed it turning into a hard, crystallized form. This happens because the cool temperatures of the fridge accelerate the crystallization process in honey. What's interesting is that honey is a natural product that doesn't spoil. It's been found in ancient Egyptian tombs, still edible after thousands of years. So there's no need to refrigerate it for preservation. In fact, it's best to store honey at room temperature, which keeps it smooth and flowing. If your honey has crystallized, don't fret. You can easily return it to its liquid state by placing the jar in a bowl of warm water and stirring until the crystals dissolve. So remember, to keep your honey smooth and flowing, store it at room temperature. Olive oil is next on our list. This golden elixir, a staple in many kitchens, is best kept out of the chill of the refrigerator. You may think you're doing it a favor by keeping it cool, but refrigeration can actually cause olive oil to become cloudy and hard. Let's break it down. Olive oil is composed of monounsaturated fats. When these fats are subjected to cold temperatures, they tend to solidify and form tiny crystals. This is why your olive oil might start to look cloudy if you've been storing it in the fridge. Not to mention, it becomes harder to pour when it's solidified. But here's the good news. This doesn't mean your olive oil has gone bad. It will return to its normal consistency when brought back to room temperature. However, for the best quality olive oil, and to avoid the hassle, store it in a cool, dark cupboard. It's that simple. For the best quality olive oil, store it in a cool, dark cupboard. Let's talk about avocados. The avocado, a versatile fruit that you can spread on your toast, toss in your salad, or use to make a mean guacamole. But have you ever wondered how refrigeration affects these green gems? Well, when it comes to avocados, refrigeration can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, a cool environment can help prolong the life of a ripe avocado. But on the other hand, if your avocado is still hard and green, refrigeration can prevent it from ripening properly. You see, avocados, like many fruits, naturally ripen at room temperature. The process involves the release of ethylene gas and requires a certain level of warmth. When you put an unripe avocado in the fridge, you're essentially putting this natural process on ice. So what's the best way to handle avocados? Simple. If they're not ripe yet, keep them out of the fridge. Let them sit on your kitchen counter until they are perfectly ripe and ready to eat. For the perfect ripe avocado, store it at room temperature until it ripens. Last but not least, basil. This vibrant green herb is a staple in many cuisines worldwide. But did you know that putting basil in the fridge can cause it to wilt and even absorb other odors? That's right. Your basil could end up smelling like last night's leftover curry if you're not careful. When exposed to the chilly environment of a fridge, they can quickly wilt and turn a dark, unappetizing color. Not exactly what you want when you're garnishing your homemade pizza or adding a touch of freshness to your pasta dish, right? Furthermore, basil has a porous nature, meaning it can easily absorb odors from surrounding foods in your fridge. This can alter its original, distinct aroma and flavor, turning your fragrant herb into a sad, flavorless shadow of its former self. So what's the solution? To keep your basil fresh and aromatic, store it at room temperature. That's right, just like a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And there you have it, 10 foods you should never put in your refrigerator. From the juicy sweetness of tomatoes to the rich, creamy texture of avocados, we've traversed a culinary journey. Each stop along the way, we've discovered why these everyday foods don't belong in the cold confines of your refrigerator. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. We started with tomatoes, whose taste and texture are compromised by the cold, making them lose their fresh, ripe flavor. Then we moved to potatoes, which turn starchy and gritty in the fridge. Similarly, onions become moldy and lose their crispness when refrigerated. Garlic was our next stop, which also becomes moldy and rubbery in cold temperatures. And who can forget bread? The refrigerator dries it out, making it stale much faster. Coffee, too, loses its flavor and can absorb other odors in the fridge, compromising that fresh, aromatic brew we all love. We then delved into the world of honey, a natural preservative that doesn't need refrigeration. It can crystallize and become difficult to handle in cold temperatures. From there, we moved to olive oil, which turns cloudy and hardens when refrigerated, losing its smooth, rich texture. Avocados were next on our list, which can stop ripening in the fridge, leaving you with a hard, unripe fruit. And finally, we ended with basil. Refrigeration can turn the leaves black and wilted, making it lose its fresh, aromatic flavor. Each of these foods has its unique characteristics, and understanding how to store them properly can enhance these qualities. It's not just about preserving food, it's about preserving taste, texture, and the overall eating experience. So before you reflexively put your groceries in the fridge, take a moment to consider if that's the best place for them. Remember, not all foods belong in the fridge. Keep these tips in mind to maintain the quality, flavor, and texture of your foods.